Hello, fellow mysticists. Today we will check the Chariot card for the second time actually because I was recording it and weeks later I realized before I was to upload it that it's actually I don't know it's just there's something wrong with with the record altogether so it's not really for uploading. So second attempt here, and I will be try to be brief because for the first time I was talking like 30 minutes for, about just just the first card. So uh, usually this this card is about victory. It's about being victorious, and when it comes to the Chariot card, the classical Marseille and the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot are very similar. If you can see it, they are similar in appearance. A victorious leader controlling two beasts. They could be war horses, sphinx, lions, and so on. So you can see that the Egyptian deck is not different, except that here they look at the same direction, and this is the usual depiction of this card that two beasts, two horses, two sphinx, two whatever, uh, going through different directions, and you have to control them. And and they are usually controlled without a leash. And let's just pretend that this is a mallet because the original Rider-Waite-Smith was intended this to be a mallet, which is a Masonic symbol of self-control. And and this is it. Usually, this is just going without restrictions, going without considering anyone else. And this Rider-Waite-Smith was originally intended to be not a conqueror. It's a defender of the city. This was specific intentions behind this deck. But this card here is, well, according to the guidebook, this shows the legend of Maria Bianca Laura. And I'm a bit baffled here because on one part, this picture shows Bianca Maria, not Maria Bianca, Bianca Maria Visconti, who commissioned the deck, or until now I saw that they commissioned this deck with her husband, but other stories or records say that his father, Filippo Visconti, commissioned it as a wedding gift, or these are the family records. And Bianca Maria's stories is a story of victory in itself, and then there is a Laura in Petrarca's uh, I Trionfi or Triumphs, and let's start with the first one because Bianca Maria Visconti was born out of wedlock. Her father was the then Duke of Milano, Filippo Visconti, and her mother was a noblewoman who was also a lady in waiting for Filippo's wife. And Filippo didn't make their relationship and child a secret at all. He even located them to a castle near the city, and he was really fond of his daughter's strong character, or that's that's what the records say. And Bianca Maria was betrothed to Francesco Sforza when she was 4 or 5. She was just a little girl, and Francesco was around 30 at the time. And it was well, this is gross. And although we have to remember that that time marriage was solely a business contract between families, this doesn't excuse this human trafficking part uh, of the business. But considering the time after Filippo's death, Francesco came out victorious from the feud of possible heirs of Filippo, and thus a general and a woman born out of wedlock conquered the city and became one of the most influential families in the area's history. And it is very interesting because, I mean, it is interesting to see Bianca on this chariot because it is specifically mentioned that, of course, she was a baller ruler and a real supporter of art, a very successful politician and diplomat. But when the new Duke and Duchess of the city entered officially Milano together, they refused to do it on a so-called victory wagon because they said it was a superstition for kings and they were elected rulers by the city and the citizens themselves, which was rare at that time. And so they rode in together on a pair of horses and nothing else. And I think it was a spectacle, and it was a story for years to come because it was very non-traditional. And the other story is about Laura in Petrarca's Triumphs. And Laura was most likely based on Laura de Noves, who was Petrarca's muse, and he was obsessed with her and stalked her, moved near her, but most likely they never even spoke. So, poor woman, really. And Petrarca instead confessed with his love in the time's custom through troubadourial songs. And Triumphs was also a popular theme at the time, displaying a victorious army arriving home, marching, showing openly the spoils of war they carried back with them. And in this story, triumphs are conquering each other one by one. So, first, love arrives as a Cupid on a chariot, but then gets defeated by Chastity, who appears as Laura. And after they celebrate Chastity's victory and leave the temple where they held this feat, Death appears and steals a lock of Laura's hair, and she dies a very elaborate and very poetic death. And after that, Laura returns several times to guide the poets through the other triumphs where Death gets beaten by Fame, then Fame gets beaten by Time, and then Eternity defeats Time, and Petrarca and Laura are reunited for eternity. And if you just realize that this was based on a woman who, I don't think she wanted to get married to her actual husband either, and she had like 11 children, and and then comes a dude who spots you in church and waxes poetry about you and your chastity and your pureness, and you don't even know them, and then you die in the plague, and and this dude just goes with, oh my god, I've lost you, there's defeated you, and death took you from me, but don't worry, we will be reunited in heaven after my death and for all eternity. And I just really feel sorry for this woman. She didn't even know him. And also, if you think, wait, I know this story, then you are right, because this is exactly Dante's Divine Comedy. On one part, because it was a popular theme back then, and on the other part, because Dante influenced Petrarch's poetry heavily. And it is shown here as well, because Beatrice and Laura are both divine, pure, and over idolized muses of the poets who come in times of need to help them gently through the tough times and reassure them that they will be together if they just go on. And those poets work with their ancient crush, but while Dante preferred Aristotle, Petrarca was a Plato fanboy. So, and this is the original Visconti-Sforza card. The horses were similar in the earlier decks and only later become symbols of opposing forces trying to pull in the chariot uh, into two different directions. And here he's the defender of the city and not a conqueror, but nonetheless this chariot symbolizes success, control, victories, action, determination, or even foreign travels, and especially with business or with a purpose, and airports if you are looking for a location. But I think this is just a stretch. So this is victory without determination. And you can see it here, for example, with the oak, ash, and thorn, that this is really a cute depiction of the chariot, because this is just solemn, this is tranquil, that you don't see this. I mean, this is a victory for the snail who rides this raven or crow. It might be a crow, but or bird, pigeon maybe, whatever. But this is of course a victory, but you don't see this rushing through a field, battlefield especially. This is very solemn, but this is a victory, and it might be slow and steady wins the race if you have a quicker form of transportation. I don't know. Here you can see exactly what it means without the horses, without riding anything. This is a symbol of Hecate, or any. This is Hecate, but other triple goddesses as well, who are guardians of the spiritual knowledge and spiritual power. So you can really sense this energy of conquest here. And I might not say this is a defender, this is a predator. So this is victory without regarding anyone else. I think this should be enough, because this is the same energy with the ram. So you are just going in. You are just going in for the win. With all your power and all your energy. And I really like that none of these cards say victory except this one, because this depicts this victory ride, this victory wagon here, when you are coming back from war and you show the spoils of war that you have gathered all together. But all the others are like going into battle, so there are no indications of actual promised victory, but you have all you need. You have the weapons, you have the ride, you have the power. So that's why this indicates victory. I really like this. This is really smug. Yeah, she has the sun as a crown, stars as earrings, the moons as an indication of spiritual power as well. So, or it might be, no, these are accessories. I really love this. And these cats as beasts of war, they are just really cute. They are non-threatening at all. Okay, Lunalapin is the same almost. But it's a very serious business here, and the Sphinx here are moving together, so they are really joining powers here. Because they are not pulling these chariots into different directions, and you don't have to control them because they are yours to command, and the goal is the same. Okay, let's see this one, because this is different, because you have this picture of riding a horse, but this horse is first it's broken in several parts, and it's really stuck in earth, so you cannot just ride it into the sunset, and you cannot ride it to war, but she's trying nonetheless. So it's either an illusion, and I really like that around these are keys trying to wind it up, but you cannot because it's stuck. It's stuck here, so I wouldn't say it's victory. It says the exact opposite of victory promised. Or it's not even going in with all you have, but It's like pretending to be victorious. So I would give a very different meaning to this card, because you have to consider that your horse is broken, your horse is stuck. You might have all the power, but you don't have the means to ride into battle. This is really interesting. This is like the exact opposite of what the chariot would mean originally. Okay, let's see this one here. And I really like this because usually in tarot decks you see pictures that channel the ancient forests, waterfronts, fire, animals, usually sacred animals, so sacred animals with heavy symbolism within the unconscious, and you don't really see humans as part of the setting. You don't see really cities, not even in the modern witch tarot. You don't see the city, the life of the city, and you especially don't see cars or anything like that. But here, I don't really know if the victorious leader is this dove here, symbolizing the spiritual, and it's her ride, but then why is she not riding it if this is the chariot? Or this is like spirit leading the technology along, and there is someone in this car riding this chariot and following this dove, or really about to hit it. But this is a very powerful picture altogether. I really like it. You don't really see actual human settings in these cards. Okay, let's see this one. I don't really recognize it still. Okay, let me look this up. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I just had to check a few things. So this story is a Norwegian fairy tale, and it is specifically a victory card. It is a very long story, but it is a typical story where the hero is promised to usually a fairy or some supernatural being, but they cannot acquire him, only with some tricks. So he's promised as a gift, which the father doesn't know about, and after that he is snatched away by accident almost, and ends up in a supernatural world where he acquires a supernatural wife, and he makes a promise which he breaks after. So he have to go after his wife, who, I'm not even sure, she wasn't missing. She just left him, so, or he couldn't go back to the supernatural world because he broke the promise, and as a consequence he wasn't able to go back, and he has to go through several trials where he have to help or inquire several, I wouldn't even say supernatural beings, but usually these heroes have to help or ask for the help of, I don't know, like the sun, the moon, the stars, the wind, several different winds, and as he goes along, he acquires gifts which will help him. And one of these gifts, right before he arrives at the castle that his previous wife is trying to getting remarried, is being helped by these fishes that will help his boat reach this island that is usually hidden from mortal beings. So this is like, it's not even reaching your reward, because it is well before that. It's reaching the battlefield before the battle itself. But he's confident. He has every tool to reach the island and reach the battlefield, and he is weaponed up. So he's prepared. He's confident. He doesn't even consider that his wife wants to marry another person who didn't break his promise, or he doesn't even question it. He will get his wife back, by the way, but he doesn't know it yet. So the chariot is, I mean, originally Arthur Waite intended this to be a protector, the protector of the city, but at the same time it is it's just going into battle, being victorious. But usually this card promises a victory, but you cannot know that. This is going into battle, and even though it is a confident card, I wouldn't necessarily say that this promises victory in any case. So you just ride into a battle prepared, and you will give your all, but nonetheless this is not a promised victory, I think, or just based on the card's history. But oftentimes when I see a reading or hear a reading, it's like you will be victorious, you will be successful, you will have but it is just you have the tools, you have the confidence, you have the power, but we don't know the enemy, we don't know who you will be up against or not from this card. And this is interesting. And from the timeline, if this deck was commissioned as a wedding gift, then it is understandable why she is on a victory wagon, because the wedding was well before they became the Duke and Duchess of the city. Yes, I should check the timeline. Okay, if you are a minor, then thank you for being here, and see you in the next video. And if you are not, we are continuing with the 18 plus decks. Okay, let me gather these. Okay, I don't know where I have put my vampire decks, so in this video they will not be featured, but let's start with the Decameron deck, which is always weird. And in this case, okay, you get the Chariot, the victory ride, your I don't know, this vehicle of war, but and this again a promised victory, but it's just creepy. You get the wagon, of course, and he's really smug about himself. He's really just trying to check on this lady, but I don't know who really is. It's definitely not a defender card. It is like a conqueror type of energy, and you don't really know who's conquering who, because this is literally a honey trap here, because she's reaching for his head and not to just smack him in the head. And he's really smug because he thinks he is in charge here, but I think this lady is the one who is riding this chariot. And he's just a happy victim, really. And this is a mere fantasy. It never happens in real life. Okay, let's see the next one, which is again disturbing. Where you get the symbolism? This is not a chariot in a way that this is not a vehicle of war, but it's like a luxury condo. You know those little camping houses that you can attached to your car and go anywhere. There's a name for them. There's a name for them, but I just can't remember. And this is a luxury version of it, for sure. But and you have these really weird animals. They are like oxes and boars at the same time. They are just, I don't know what they are supposed to be, or some sort of buffaloes. I know there's an animal like this, or similar to this, but you get the implication that they are trying to go into two different directions, and he's in charge even though he is not controlling them. But what is really disturbed me here is this is like a rape fantasy, and okay, he will be victorious in a way, but she seems to be asleep. If I want to be more generous with this girl, she is pretending to be asleep, but it's like she has bruises here, or maybe it's just a painting issue on the card, but I don't know. If I assume that they don't know each other, then this is just creepy that a completely naked man with a dildo in his hand is trying to wake her up. And even though if they are together or know each other, then it is also creepy. Just, you don't just wake someone up like this. Hey girl, just wake up. I get got this really amazing toy for you. So it is not a defender again. This is a conqueror, and I don't know. It's just creepy. Well, if you get this card in a reading, of course you have this cocky energy. But this is like the same when I was holding a training or some workshop for young boys in Jewry. So they were in correctional facilities for minors, and almost all of them were addicts, or they thought they were not addicts, but they had issues with drugs and alcohol, and they had no idea what a healthy relationship is, how to approach a woman with respect, or how to treat them with respect and not just use them as a, I don't know, source of pleasure. And I think I was watching Requiem for a Dream with them, and there was this is an addiction story, and how addiction ruins your dreams and your life, and how it makes you impossible to live your life, and instead living in this dream where all your dreams are always in the future. So the heroes of the stories, or so-called heroes of the stories, the main characters are always saying that okay, they will get themselves together, they will have this shop, they will get rich, and they will work, and they will help their mothers, and this is very cute. But due to their addiction, it is like it will always remain just a dream, because if you are an addict, this is your whole life and all your focus is on that, so you cannot really achieve your dreams. And this has a similar kind of energy, because there's this specific scene in the movie where the female main character is getting into prostitution to be able to pay for her drugs. And there was this scene, and I remember it clearly. I think I will remember it for a very long time, because these boys who were all addicts at one point in their life, they were really cheering up this scene, and I was trying to explain them that, look, this is not about if you are an addict, you will be able to pay for women dancing for you on the table. This is like if you are an addict, you will dance on the table. It's you who are on the table, so you will do anything. You will humiliate yourself and sell yourself just for the next shot. And it was really weird because they didn't get it. So I was just reminded to this story because this is a similar. So if I would get this card, I wouldn't be able to decide whether I'm a rapist here, or I'm forcing myself on someone, or I'm the victim here. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overcomplicating this, but this isn't a nice victory card. It would be like, I don't know, just some implication that you get the partner you wished for, or you go into, I don't know, some conflicts for the person you wished for. And it also doesn't implicate that the person wants you in any way, but I don't know, this is weird and I don't like it. I mean, the artwork is beautiful, but the Chariot as a sexuality card, it's like being just forcing yourself, just not asking for permission, just taking what you want. And in this case, I feel more like this is about taking what you want without considering anyone else. So she's asleep, she's not into it. And he's just waking her up. And it's really weird because I can't really imagine a healthy way where this could happen. So this is why I always say that you have to see these cards in context. So this card is completely different than this card, or even this one, if you know the implication, has nothing to do with this. This is another version, and okay, they are similar, but for example, this Chariot card with its message is completely different from this Chariot card, because just this is aggressive, this is cocky, this is daring, this is really riding into battle, and this is practical, this is cocky in a cute way, but this is more simple, this is more about practicality, thinking outside the box. I don't know. So always check the context, always check. And I'm not even saying that, I mean, if you are here, you are most likely believe in tarot, or if you are just curious about how these artworks are symbolizing things, or why we attach this symbolism to these specific pictures, then this is fine too. You don't have to believe in any of this, but context is always important, even in reading, even in historical research, in any type of research really, or just quoting a conversation. So this is like it. This Chariot card has to be in context. So on its own, I wouldn't say this is a positive card. Yeah, but well, I wouldn't really say that riding into battle is a positive thing altogether. So it's always really surprising when I see readings where people say that, okay, you will be victorious, because the Chariot card on its own doesn't tells you victory. It's riding into battle prepared. So that's it. Check the context. Yeah. Okay. I think that was all for this card. I will edit this and upload this hopefully in the right order, but at this point I'm just editing and re-editing. So and re-recording several cards, so hopefully it will be all fine. So thank you for being here, and since I'm finishing this video in 2023, Happy New Year for everyone. Hopefully we will get much more content and many more videos during this year. I'm really planning this out. So thank you for being here, and see you in the next video. Bye.